Hey everybody, welcome back to Diesel Creek. My name's Matt. Behind me, my 1999 Mack CL 713 that you guys saw me purchase in a recent episode. We also went over this truck, did a complete service on it, got it inspected, ready for the road, and it's still a semi-truck. It's no good without a trailer. So in today's episode, we're going to be going over a lowboy trailer that I actually picked up over a year ago. It's just been sitting here waiting for me to get one of my semis on the road, and this is the first one that happens to be road ready. So let's get the old Mack fired up. We're gonna have to go get hooked up to that trailer, and it's like every flat surface in my life has acquired a lot of junk sitting on top of it in the year that it's been sitting here. So we're gonna have to clean some stuff off it, then we'll get hooked to it, drag it down here, and then I think it just needs a little bit of going over. I don't think it needs a whole lot, but we'll get it pulled into the shop. We'll go through it, make sure everything's good to go. Once it's ready for the road, we'll take it down, drop it off, get it inspected. Then after all that is said and done, we'll be ready to finally haul the first load with the Mack here. So let's get to it. I bought this trailer at an auction probably going on 2 years ago now. It's amazing how time flies, isn't it? As you can see, all that it's done for me so far since I brought it home is to be a catch-all and a place to stack things. So I got a few rusty treasures piled up on here. We got to unload those, get them situated, and then the trailer needs some attention as far as the airline goes and the hydraulic hookups. They are busted off. There's a good story about trying to get this thing home from where I got it. It seems to me, I remember when me and Sam pulled it home that the lights were not working either. So we'll have to take a look at that. But other than that, I don't think the trailer needs a whole lot. As you can tell, the way it's sitting here on these blocks, the neck is too low to get up onto the fifth wheel, so the Kabelka is going to have to lend a hand. Well, you guys have probably all heard me say it before, you gotta pay to play, and that is especially true when it comes to fueling up big trucks like this one. Now, one of the ways I've been helping to earn a little bit of extra fuel money is by using the Upside app. Now, the Upside app gets you cash back on everyday essential purchases like gas, groceries, and dining. And since Upside works at over 100,000 gas stations, restaurants, and grocery stores, it is super easy to find ways to start earning. Now, the best part, this is real cash back. This is not some confusing points or rewards system, just real money that you can transfer into your very real bank account. Top Upside earners are making as much as $300 a month, and to find out how much you could be earning, click the link down in the description. Download the Upside app and use my code DIESEL to get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon of gas on your first tank. Or scan the little QR code here on the screen to take advantage of this offer. So, thanks for Upside to sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to trucking. All right, so it's actually a couple days later. I drug this trailer down here and started backing it into the shop, and then I realized that the trailer truck combination is like 2 feet too long to fit into the shop. Unfortunately, this truck is just a bit longer than the auto car. I think this trailer with the auto car will fit in there nicely, and you'll be able to, back in, shut both doors. This truck unfortunately has a good bit more wheelbase because of the pusher axle. I was calling that a tag in the last video, and everybody's leaving comments telling me I was wrong. I know. Technically, it's called a pusher axle. I don't know. I know that, but everybody that I know just calls it a tag. If it lifts up and down, it's a tag. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying it's what we do. Birdie. So anyways, I pulled the trailer down here, like I said, it started to put it in the shop, realized I wasn't going to be able to keep the truck attached to it, and at that point, I decided I had to pull it back outside because I currently don't have any way to detach from this without lifting it with another machine, or just pulling out from underneath the trailer and dumping it, which I sure don't want to do in the shop. The way this is supposed to work is you're supposed to use the hydraulics on the neck to lift the trailer weight off of the truck, and then you can pull out of it without dumping the trailer, essentially. I think somebody dumped this trailer when I bought it, because that's why these air connections and the hydraulic connections were all broken off. They probably didn't have a wet line on the truck that they used to park this trailer last or whatever, but when I went to pick it up, it had 0 glad hands. We had to put that one on there, and couldn't get the broken off piece of that one out of there. Typically, your red hose, your emergency line, is going to this side over here, and the reason it's not is because when me and Sam went to pick up this trailer last year, we didn't really know anything. I had never seen it. I bought it at an auction online. We got there, I knew the glad hands were broken. Well, I knew that one was broken, so I brought one with me like an idiot. I should have brought 2. We got there, and I went to hook up the line on the, I can't remember which one was hanging on, but when we got there was one still in place, and I went to hook up to it, and it just snapped right off. It was already damaged. So then we had one glad hand to work with, and of course you can't move the trailer without releasing the spring cans, which is what this hose does. It's typically over here, but we couldn't get the broken out piece out of that pipe fitting. We didn't have any tools with us. We were just in the semi. Luckily enough, we were MacGyver that day. This was a railroad spike that just happened to be laying in the neck here of the trailer. And you know what that railroad spike was that day? It was an easy out. We drove it into the broken off piece on this side, and all we had was a hammer and that railroad spike, and we were able to twist out the broken piece of the glad hand and install the new one on that side. That still didn't release our spring cans. We had to get even more creative and reroute the hoses in here. Luckily, these are just the push to connect air fittings, and we moved this red hose from this side over to that side so we could release the brakes and get the trailer moving. With only the red hose connected, that means that we didn't have any service brakes on the way home. We just had the brakes released back there. So all the braking had to be done by the tractor, but because it's just an empty trailer, that wasn't really an issue. So as I just mentioned there, not only were the air fittings broken off, but the hydraulics were also broken off. And that means we weren't able to run the hydraulics on the neck at all to disconnect the trailer. When we brought it back here to the farm, I just snagged it up with Fat Alice, unhitched it from Sam's truck, and parked it, and it's been sitting there ever since. So this is the hydraulic line that got broken off there. As you can see, it's in great condition. I went and got a new piece made for that, and there's a wing connector on this side which will work with the wet line kit that's on the Mac, but the other end of that hydraulic line has some sort of a weird push to connect on it. That's no bueno, so I had to order up another wing connector here, and we'll put this together, and then I should be able to run the hydraulics, pull the trailer in the shop, and remove it from the truck without any issue. Well, luckily the broken fitting just came right out. That's nice. Typically hydraulic fittings you don't need to put any kind of PTFE or anything on, like Teflon tape. This is a pipe fitting, which is kind of uncommon in hydraulics anymore. Pretty old school. So, doesn't hurt. We'll put a couple wraps on here, try to prevent any leaks. Alright, ready to install on the trailer. Okay, I'd say that's tight enough. Just got to install the wing connector on the other line and we should be good to go. Oh, I need a bigger crescent wrench. Sidebar, if you don't know, if you really want to make like 2/3 the internet mad at you at any given time, all you have to do is own a crescent wrench. Just own it. You don't even have to use it. Just say there's one in your toolbox. The internet will be forever mad at you. Apparently those are the devil's wrenches, but I'd like to see what you guys think about this guy. Because it's an adjustable wrench, but it's not a real wrench either. I'm sure there's going to be some purists out there still yelling at me for that. Oh, that sucker is tight. Oh, there we go. Good gravy. Thought I was going to throw my back out yanking on that thing. Yummy. Well, the oil doesn't look terrible in there, so that's good. All right, there we go. Wing connector installed. Let's connect our hydraulic lines now to the wet line, fire up the truck, and see if this thing's going to work. One thing bad about the way they have these wet lines mounted, they have this receiver end mounted straight up and it just collects all the dirt if you don't have the caps on there, which they didn't when I bought the truck at the auction. These caps were just tossed in the toolbox. So I'm going to clean these connectors out good, wipe out all that dirt, try to keep from getting that in the system. Are you kidding me? I didn't test it. This wing connector doesn't fit this side. What fits this one? What? Why? Why is that a different size on this truck? Hopefully I can just switch this out. I don't know why this connector is bigger than that side, because I already tested it on that side. Yeah, you can see this side is bigger than the other side for some reason. So hopefully I can just swap these two out right here and we'll be in business. Another unforeseen issue I didn't know we had. Holy crap! Ugh, that sucker is on there tight. Hopefully there's no pressure. I haven't run the PTO since I got the truck, so any pressure on there, I guess it's just atmospheric. Beautiful. Now that's a different thread size, of course, so we're going to need a reducer bushing here. Hopefully I can find one of those. Well, I know it's not correct, and I know some of you are probably going to lose your mind when you see this, but these black pipe fittings are going to have to identify as hydraulic lines today. I couldn't come up with a proper hydraulic reducer locally. Nearest hydraulic shop's about a half-hour away. Really don't have time to be messing with that today. I'll order the right part. I'll change it out when I get it, but this will work just for getting the low boy in the shop. Or, if it works, I might forget about it, and it might become permanent. I think that's my favorite quote by Watch Wes work. He said, "It's only temporary, unless it works." All right, that should finally do us. Let's get this thing connected. Bingo. Okay, that's locked down. We are ready to go. So with everything connected, we're finally ready to fire up the Mac and test out our wet line. Now, I have been asked a few times by a few different people to show in detail about how the lowboy necks work. I have what's called a ground bearing trailer, and I'll show you why in a second. There's another type of trailer called a non-ground bearing trailer, which is what Buddy Sam has. The non-ground bearing trailers are generally regarded as a better trailer. These are a little bit cheaper to come across, and the reason is they function in a different way. This one has a big hydraulic ram right underneath the neck here. It's just basically a big foot jack. And that hydraulic ram will run this foot just straight down on the ground, and that is what lifts the neck up on the trailer. And then you kick out these legs here, and basically that just kind of locks the neck into the trailer. So there's a big finger coupling down here. You can see the inside of it over there. That big finger kind of scoops underneath the trailer and catches it. And then when you lift the neck up, it lifts up the trailer. These legs here swing down and lock it into position. And as you can see, we have some steel plates underneath these legs. And what that does is control your ride height. So if you want higher ground clearance, in this case we have like probably a foot of ground clearance under the front of the lowboy here. That's not typical. When you're going down the road, typically you only want a few inches. You want to keep your center of gravity and your load as low as possible, not only for stability but for height clearance issues. As you can see, we have a chain on this neck right here, and the only reason that was there is to keep the neck from falling down without the truck connected. There's supposed to be a fancy bracket in there that holds that if you don't have the truck connected, but it's missing, and this is the way we got it with that chain and binder. So before we can drop the trailer down and remove the neck, we have to remove this chain, because when we drop the trailer down, that neck's gonna articulate basically. So the reason these trailers are not as good as non-ground bearing trailers is because you have to find good footing, good ground to be able to run that jack down and pick up the trailer. If you're on somebody's nice asphalt, you can mar up the asphalt, so you got to put some boards under that. Or if you're on muddy ground, it can just sink into the dirt. That's a lot of force getting put down on that one jack pad. Non-ground bearing trailers have some hydraulics up in the neck, and they work a little bit differently. I'll show you that here.
So unlike Matt's scrap ground bearing trailer, this is a non-ground bearing trailer, and this is how a real trailer should work. So what non-ground bearing means, as you can see, we're not pushing on the ground. All the weight is on the tires, even though we're unlocked right now. And the way this works is there's a hinge here at the back of the neck, and then you have these 4 big cylinders, and these cylinders push down on the front of the neck, and that's how it raises and lowers. You can see on Matt's trailer, it's got the vertical ram that just pushes on the ground. The problem with that is then you're unloading all the weight of the truck suspension, so you have to lift it high enough to make up for all that, where this style, it's pushing down, squashing the truck down, so you have all the bearing surface of the tires on the ground. And if you high center, you can just raise the trailer up higher. It's like this one goes decently high. So if I get high centered, I can pick the trailer up like that and jump back in the truck and pull forward and then lower it back down. I don't need any of the shims or anything like Matt does in order to support his up high. And now we lock our pins. You can change your ride height on these trailers by having basically different thicknesses of spacing here. The 50-ton has a big block with different steps, and we just turn that to wherever we want. Some of the newer ones, either Fontaine or Talbert, they have a ratcheting mechanism inside, and it just drops down wherever you want it to stop. You let the weight off there, which those work really nice. I'm a fan of those.
Okay, with the chain off, it's finally time. Let's fire this thing up. All right, I got the wet line kicked on. I saw the lines jump there. We should just be able to run the valve over here, which should run the ram up and down. There we go. How about that, huh? Fanciness. Something I forgot about, this truck being an air ride truck, you need to dump your suspension before you lift the trailer, because the airbags will come up to try to meet the truck as it lifts. So we lifted up the deck just until these plates got loose. You took the tension off the legs. Now you can pull this, swing the legs up and out of the way. It's supposed to click into that hole, but needs a little bit of TLC. But now we should be able to just drop the deck all the way down to the ground. So an option that a lot of lowboy trailers have as well, that this trailer does not, is a hydraulic foot, which would come down from the neck here and support the neck against the frame, so that when you detach from the trailer, your neck isn't just dragging on the ground or riding on the frame there. That is something I'd like to add to this trailer because it is really handy, but in the meantime, we can just throw a 4x4 across the frame rails and it does the same thing. Kind of got to just play around until you find the right size board for your truck and trailer setup. Looks like that'll do me. Now we just got to disconnect the air brakes and the lights, and we should be able to pull the neck right away from the trailer. There we go, we're disconnected. Ready to pull something up on there. This particular trailer also has these flip down ramps. I'm not really a fan of these. You can see it's already missing one on that side. The only time you really need that thing is if you're trying to pull like a pickup truck or something that doesn't have any ground clearance up on the trailer. Very, very, very rarely would I need those things, and when I did, I would probably just throw down some blocks or something. It's not really a big deal. You usually always kind of carry some cribbing around with you. Now that the trailer's disconnected though, you can really see these big fingers that grab onto the trailer like I was talking about. since I don't like these ramps and they're already kind of banged up and one's missing, I'll probably just end up torching that thing off of there to save some weight and just not have it in the way. All right, well, I just did that basically just to demonstrate that for you guys. So let's go ahead and hook this thing back up, and now we can pull it into the shop and disconnect it from the truck and work on it where it's nice and cool inside, because it's approaching 90 out here right now and it's only 70 in the shop. When I first met Dirt Perfect a few years ago, he told me that air conditioning his shop was the best decision of his life. And I thought he was kind of overhyping it. He wasn't. It's the best decision of your life. Air condition your shop. It's worth it. Look at that. My first lowboy hookup went pretty well. I guess we're not out of the woods yet. I shouldn't say anything. Oh, yep, I forgot to dump the bags again. Going up. So there we are at unloaded ride height. We're probably still 10 inches off the ground there. Now this is a spring ride trailer as well. A lot of lowboy trailers are air ride, just like the tractor. And that means you can control your ride height. You'll kind of always have the same ride height. Spring ride, once you load it, of course, springs settle down and you get a little bit lower in the rear. In our case, if we were on a spring ride tractor, that would even out with the tractor on the front too, but this is an air ride truck, so it's not gonna settle much. Basically, all that's going to keep this neck from coming off the trailer too, as I pull out from underneath of it, is the jack, and I'm going to put that chain on there just as a safety to keep the neck pulled up into the trailer. Again, we only have to use the chain because we're missing the purpose-built bracket that's supposed to go from these holes down to those holes. It's supposed to be a solid piece of like half-inch bar or something that would pin in there and keep that neck from going anywhere. So anyway, let me tighten up this chain and then I think we're ready to disconnect and pull out. All right, with the trailer in the shop here, one of the first things I want to get done is remove this big, heavy half-inch plate deck that they built on the back here. This hole from this line up has been added on. That's not original. They welded on a whole bunch of plate and I-beams and stuff. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, they welded all these I-beams on here. They didn't do a very good job. And it's made out of half-inch plate on top here, which is very heavy. So we're adding thousands of pounds here, I would imagine, to the weight of this trailer. And we don't really need to do that. You kind of want to save as much weight as possible, because every pound extra that the trailer weighs is a pound less you can haul. I'm going to pull the plates off first. I don't know that we're going to get to torching all this extra garbage off in this video, but I want to pull the plates off so I can at least look down in the axles and see what the heck's going on back there. Right now it's so dark and hard to get at. It's just, I don't need these plates on here, so we'll take them off there, save the weight. I can use that plate for other things. I went ahead and lubed up all the bolts. They kind of use like countersunk bolts, but they didn't countersink anything. They just drilled holes bigger than what they needed so that the bolt heads kind of sat down, but not really. This one's one of the better ones. Yeah. But I hosed them all down with penetrating oil, because the couple I've tried taking out already were a struggle. So hopefully the lube helps. Yeah, that one might need the torch. It started to come loose and then it locked up. Holy crap. These ones on the inside here really suck. You can't hardly get the wrench on them. Anyway, that's the first plate free. Let's lift it off there and see what's underneath. I don't think we're going to be able to see much other than the tires. Yeah, wow, the amount of weight that they added to the back of this trailer is pretty substantial. All this I-beam here is like doubled up when it didn't need to be. Tons and tons of welding they did. That's gonna suck to cut this thing off. And now that that plate's off, you can really see why I want this removed. There's not a lot of clearance between the tire and that beam, and when you load the trailer, the springs are gonna settle, and I don't think it would take a whole lot to put those tires into that beam. That's probably why this tire looks the way it does. Look how chewed up it is. And I bet that's from running into this beam. Could be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, it's 10 o'clock. I'm heading home for the night. We'll buzz the rest of these off in the morning. Oh, the tire's on fire. Ta-da! That's a little bit more what the trailer's supposed to look like. We still got all that crap to slice off there, but at least I could put something on the deck now and not have to worry about the tires rubbing those things. Okay, so we have maybe a little over half of the weight, let's say 2/3 of the weight off of this trailer. We still got a cross member there, and all this I-beam work up top here that's not original to the trailer I'd like to cut off. 2 out of the 3 pieces of plate that we pulled off are on the forks right now with those fender covers. So maybe we have half the weight on the forks right now that was on that trailer. Almost 1,100 pounds that we've removed. So gotta be 2,000. By the time we get these beams off of here and everything, gotta be over 2,000. That's dumb. I don't understand why they did that. Okay, I got the lights all working on the trailer. I stripped off as much of this upper deck as I'm gonna strip for now. I do wanna come back, like I said, take these beams off in the future, but I need the trailer sooner than that. It's gonna take quite a while to get that all cut off of there. It's gonna be a mess. So, I got all the lights working except for those 2 there, those center 2. They were working, and then I wiggled the wire the wrong way and they quit working. So I ordered a new harness. I'll have that in a couple days. We'll slap that new little pigtail on those couple lights. The lights themselves are okay, just need the new wires run to them. But the brake lights, turn signals, all that's functioning. I think we're gonna boogie down the road with it as it is. So she might not be 100%, but we gotta press this thing into service. I bought a bunch of concrete blocks. I gotta go haul those, so I'm gonna pull this thing out of the shop. We're gonna throw the Case 80 excavator on here, haul it over to the location where the blocks are, and then use it to load blocks. And yeah, let's fire it up and go. right, we got the hoe all chained down there. We are ready to go haul some blocks. Let's fire this thing up and get rolling. Well, I think my camera died in the middle of loading, but I got 12 blocks on the trailer. That's about 36,000 pounds. Got those chained down. We're ready to hit the big road again. Okay, we just pulled back into the yard. Trailer performed admirably. No issues at all, so that's a great thing. Driving the Mack engine versus a Cummins, there's a little bit of a power curve difference, so it's taking a little bit of getting used to that. Not to mention that the truck is so quiet in the cab with the big muffler, and it's just a nice, quiet, sealed up cab. It's almost hard to hear the engine, and I'm somebody that drives by ear anyway, so I had to roll the window down a bit on the drive home, and it made it easier to make the shifts. You guys are probably seeing this footage a bit out of sequence. The trailer is not really 100% where I would like to be yet, but Buddy Sam over at Scrappy Industries has got a couple machines we need to go pick up though, so the trailer might not be where I want it to be, but it is ready enough to go on a little road trip. Anyways, let's hop in the truck, go pick us up a machine. Oh yeah! Time to Billy Big Rig. In case you can't tell, it's been a bit dusty here. We have not had hardly any rain this summer. It is probably one of the driest summers I can remember. Well, it is one heck of a lumpy, bumpy road in here, but by golly, George, we made it. There's Sam's rig right there. And I think over there is the stuff that we're picking up, or at least some of that stuff is what we're picking up. Sweet!
I always leave it hooked up.
It makes sense. I just never.
Because then the back can roll just a little bit. Fish!
There we go.
Let's see how this old ground bearing thing works.
I forgot to drop the bag.
Oh. It is your second rodeo, I guess.
And my first rodeo, I didn't disconnect it. We're out of stroke, driver. I'm gonna let the suspension come down a bit. Actually, it might just be the way I'm sitting.
Are you not have quick release valves there on your dump? This takes like forever to dump the bags, seems like.
Oh yeah, that moves slow as hell.
It should have like 2 little valves on each side of the frame.
Buddy, I don't know.
You got your little block of wood?
Yeah. You're just catching all my slip.
Hey, I'm just here to help, bud.
Just here to critique. Critique, call names, make me feel stupid.
That tongue and groove, is that like in the manual?
That's spec, you know.
Okay. It might not like all these humps and bumps we're on here.
Oh, that was rough coming in here, isn't it?
Oh man, that was second gear idle kind of situation there.
That's exactly what I did.
Hopefully it comes out of the hooks. And there she be.
All right, so here's what we're christening the trailer with first. It's a 977H that Sam just got. Looking good. Nicely done, Sam. I think that's it. She is loaded. I'm glad I didn't step in that. That's a real ankle breaker. It's up to my knee. It's not an ankle breaker, that's a leg snapper. Sam got her loaded up nicely there. I'd like to set the bucket down. He's trying to tell me to haul like that, and I know him, he would, but
Got her. Hook her air up.
making sure we're engaged first.
Ah, I got you.
This ain't no Talbot. Picks it right up.
Yeah. I like the sound effects.
It's drama, really.
Yeah.
Will Tony Beats be able to get the dozer loaded on?
Stay tuned and you'll find out. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
We just need, you maxed out of travel there?
cheap to me. Just need a block from them.
Wait, hold on. Just throw this under the trailer. And then you can put a block under the jack. Right? How about that non-ground bearing trailer though?
Buddy, I'm not arguing that they're better. I'm also arguing that they're way more expensive.
They're not that much more expensive.
They're way more expensive. Where's the blocks?
We're on also sort of an awkward hill here of humps and bumps.
Flat ground, I think we'd be fine.
Yeah. So we just have to two-step it. But that fell under the ram jam there.
We got her now, Jimmy. Raising or down? You can just feel the power.
I hear the power. Then this little leg comes down, hold her up.
Bob's your auntie.
And when you get high centered, you can do this all in the middle of the road.
And then find the shim place.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
You're high centered.
Really?
Hold on. Let your bags air up. And then don't go that way. I forgot your beams are lower than the sides. Who builds a trailer like that anyway? Your trailer brakes off? Oh yeah, it's hitting pretty hard. Might need a tug. Well, a little tug for the 977 got us out of that.
Okay, Sam's got his all loaded up, chained down. Ours is all chained down. He did persuade me to leave the bucket up in the air. On account of the chrome on the cylinders of this machine, pretty rusty. We lower it down, it's just gonna gut the seals. We don't have any emery to try to clean it up here. The boom is in the up and lock position. It's not like it's just hydraulic fluid holding it there. So we got a chain on it. That's DOT approved, really. I mean, I don't think there's any law that says it needs to be all the way lowered. You know, the machine's dead too. They can't even say that we can just fire it up and lower it. If that was the case, we would, but yeah. Well, let's take this thing home. Gotta put that away yet. performed flawlessly other than getting high centered there. I had to throw some shim plates in there. Thank God I had those, otherwise might still be stuck here in the middle of the road waiting on a tow. So the sides of the trailer look like you got all kind of clearance, but when you really get down there, the main beams of the trailer are not that far off the ground. With those shims in there, it looks just about level right now with a load on. So maybe you just always run those shims might be the plan in the future. What'd you say this thing weighs?
I think it's like 40 plus the ripper.
40 plus the ripper, maybe another rippers, maybe 2,000 maybe, if that.
I'd say like 3 or so, yeah.
Oh, you think 3? All right, sure. Give me the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I kept up on the highway just fine, but when it came to these windy back roads to get here to Sam's place, it's tough with just an 8LL in there. Oh yeah, he's definitely lighter than me, so he was pulling away pretty hard. Easy on Codge's grass now.
Air up. Got it.
Put the old plates back in there.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it, driver. You need all the height.
Apparently. It sits nice and level with the plates in. I guess without a load on it, it seems a little high maybe.
Well, it's gonna sit down.
Yeah.
I didn't hurt you a bit with the load on it.
No, I don't really care. Slam bam, thank you ma'am, we're back together. Well, we made her back. The Mac and the Lowboy both performed flawlessly, aside from getting high centered. that was a butt puckering moment, if you will. Had traffic backed up for, oh, I don't know, half mile both ways. Pretty busy road that I got stuck right in the middle of there. And I put the shims in and I still couldn't pull forward, so I just backed off the road. Luckily I was at least able to back up, and then waited for the traffic to clear, and everything was okay. I pulled back out there and was able to swing it the second time around. But the old 977 I hauled was not super light, so that was probably about, I'd say that was close to the max I can legally haul on this trailer. And when you look down the trailer with that thing on there, it did have a slight bow to the trailer. This particular lowboy, and I would say most flat deck lowboys, are not arced. Some semi-trailers, you'll look at them and they're made with an arc to them so that when you load them, they kind of flatten out. This one is not, and so a slight bow to it is not like scary or anything. I mean, it's not like I was overloaded the trailer and it was going to break in half, but it does let you know that you got something on there, that's for sure. Overall, I'm still happy with the Mac. It's doing really well. That's the fourth thing I've hauled now, actually. There's a couple loads of block and that big roller, which I did not record. But it's been doing great. That was the heaviest thing I've hauled, though, that's for sure. Two complaints I have about it is it could use a little bit more power. It's kind of governed out. You hit about 70, and you go down through some of the valleys around here. We got a lot of rolling hills, and you go down into a big dip. You want to be hammering on it to get back up the other side and not have to drop any gears. And it hits 72 or 73 or something, and it just cuts right out, and you got nothing until you're back below that speed, and then it'll kick back in. So you're maybe already started up the other side of the hill before you get any power back, and that's really frustrating. So there's a place that Dirt Perfect told me about that I can send the ECM out from this truck, and they can not only get rid of that, but they can crank the power up a bit, which would be also much appreciated. I guess with these Macs, they aren't what they say they are. It's an E7, it claims 460 horsepower on the door. That ain't the case, apparently. Apparently there's only like a 300 and some horse file on the computer right now. So we can get that cranked up to, I think, 560 the website claims. So we'll take the big file, please. That ought to really make her come alive some. The other complaint I have is the transmission. I mean, I'm getting better with it. And I think it's probably, you just got to know how to use it. It's got an Eaton 8LL in it. I would rather have like a 13 speed in there, or even a 10 speed would be better to me than the 8LL. It's nice when you can drop a half a gear. This thing just has big jumps, and that can sometimes really hold you back on a hill. But for as much as I run the truck, I'm not sure I'm going to worry about changing it for quite a while. I think getting that extra horsepower in front of it will really help the transmission's causes. Well, it doesn't take very long when you have a truck like this sitting around. You find things to haul. I like this old girl. Gonna let that build air, and we gotta go check out our next mission here. So it's a sad day here, but good in some others. Freed up some cash for some other projects. I unloaded one of these haul trucks because I sure don't need two of them sitting around here. I sold this one on the left here, and during negotiations on the price, the guy asked if I could deliver it. I said I could, so we're gonna get this thing loaded up and hauled over to his place directly. I know they're inanimate objects, but part of me feels bad for breaking up this dynamic duo. I'm sure these two have been together since the beginning. After today, they'll probably never see each other again. Listen to that old Cummins purr. All right, let's grab the haul truck and drive it up on here. truck can be quite a pain to get lined up on the lowboy, because you might have the front end perfectly straight, but the back end sort of wiggled a bit. Okay, we're all chained down, ready to hit the road. The beauty of these particular haul trucks is that they are a little bit smaller than most of them, so they actually make for a legal load. I don't need to have any oversized nothing or other. This is an actually legal load. Just as it sits, you don't have to permit. So sad to see her go, but I still have the twin over there, so it's not that big a deal. Let's take it to its new home. Well, what is the verdict on our beautiful little Mac here? I like it. That's my verdict on it. I've put this truck through, what, 5, 6 little runs now with it. Nothing crazy, but I feel like we've definitely tested it and proven it is a good, solid runner, reliable. I don't think we have any real issues going on here whatsoever. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is I'm a big fan of the Mac, and it's definitely going to be hanging around for the foreseeable future here. I mean, I think I might have discussed this in the last video on this truck, but even once the auto car is done, which we are moving towards that direction anyway on the auto car project now. Even once the auto car is done, this tractor is actually a heavier spec than the auto car, not by a whole lot, but basically just by having that pusher axle. I know I call it a tag axle, but if you want to get technical, it's a pusher axle. That increases my load capacity of the truck. I am limited right now by my trailer. I would need to have a 50-ton 3-axle trailer like Buddy Sam has just purchased to be able to really maximize what I could carry with the tractor. So I guess that means this is a good time to talk about the trailer. I kind of planned on doing a little bit more repair work to it in this video, but we ended up having to press it into service a little quicker than I had hoped. As you guys can probably no doubt tell, the deck of the trailer is definitely on its last legs. It has seen better days. The wood is in terrific shape. So it's not a big deal. I have a sawmill. I can buzz off some boards. We can redeck this trailer, and it would be pretty good for quite a while probably. I still have these cross members back here in the back that they had welded on that I would like to remove, lighten up the trailer a little bit, and just clean up the overall appearance. Stuff like this tire here, I know it looks really bad. It's questionable whether you should run something like this or not. There's no like giant cracks or holes. I think that thing they had welded on here was chowdering up that tire, and there is still plenty of tread. I mean, according to a tread gauge, this is a runnable tire, so I don't know where that would exactly fall if DOT decided to have a close look at it, but really I don't think it's that bad. Overall though, this trailer is not overall though, I mean, the trailer does its job. It works for what I do. I probably should just stick with it and fix it and make it a nice trailer for as often as I'm going to run it. It probably served me well, but I don't know. I think I'm kind of leaning towards getting a non-ground bearing like we talked about earlier in the video. Getting high center the other day really scared me. There's supposed to be a safety pin in the neck that I didn't really know about that could keep the neck from detaching if you do high center, but I didn't know about it, and this trailer was missing that pin. So basically, if we would have high centered just right, like on a railroad track or something where the truck actually goes lower than the trailer, the neck could have just come right off of the trailer and we could have been split in half in the middle of the road. And that's when things get real bad. That's going to take a while to get reconnected. If you can reconnect it, your airlines and everything are probably going to get ripped off in the process. So you're probably dead in the water. And in that situation that I was in the other day hauling Sam's 977, that would have been no bueno. That's a very busy, active little road. And it's not going to take very long for the cops to show up when you're blocking a busy road like that. Not technically doing anything illegal, but one never really wants the cops getting involved with a little lowboy action. So I'm not saying that I'm going to ship this trailer down the road just yet, but I think I am going to keep my eyes peeled for a good deal on a either 35-ton non-ground bearing or 55-ton non-ground bearing trailer. I really much prefer the way they work, and I think they're just a lot nicer trailer in general. I got that one because it was cheap, and you know, cheap doesn't always get you the nicest end result. We got lucky on the Mac. I actually spent more on that trailer than I did on the Mac. I think I paid $13,500 for that trailer and $12,000 for the Mac. Definitely better bang for the buck on the Mac purchase. So I guess we're just going to keep our eyes peeled at the Ritchie Brothers auctions and Facebook Marketplace and everything else. Please don't bombard me with trailers. If you own one personally or something, you know, and you're looking to get rid of it, maybe drop me an email. But I scour Marketplace pretty well myself. I get a lot of people sending me stuff all the time, and that's a dangerous thing, because then you wind up with a giant equipment yard full of stuff that it was just too good to pass up. So while I appreciate it, probably not the best thing for my wallet or my my attempt at decluttering the yard here. Boy, that afternoon sun is bright this time of year. So anyways, guys, I guess we're gonna call this one a wrap for now. Like I said, very happy with the Mac. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about the trailer situation, if I should hang on to this one or find a little bit nicer one or whatever. I probably still am gonna throw a deck and do a little bit more work to this one. If I would decide to sell it, it's gonna be worth a good bit more with a new deck on it and all that bracing and everything cut off the back. So it's not the last you're gonna see of this trailer, regardless, that's for sure. But if we find another nice replacement for this one, it's probably going to go down the road. So anyways, guys, thanks for sticking around. I hope you guys liked seeing the Mac in action. I know I was really happy to see it working out so well, and we're definitely going to be using this thing on plenty of scrap rescue missions in the future. So that's all I got for today. If you guys liked the video, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button, and I will catch you on the next video. Oh wait, as you guys can see, the leaves are changing. It is awful cold in the mornings. It means it's fall. It's hoodie time. If you guys don't have a Diesel Creek hoodie yet, be sure to swing over to the store. That's dieselcreek.com. Link is always down in the description. Pick yourself up some hoodies over there. We got these pullovers, which are really nice and heavy, and then we got some lighter weight zip-up hoodies that are also nice on these chilly mornings but warm days. So anyways, that's all I got. I'll catch you on the next one. Later.